Shabbat Shalom, my friends, and welcome back to our ongoing Torah conversations. I know that Shabbos is almost here. Can you feel it? Our world is slowing down just a bit, and it's time for us just to be. First of all, I must fulfill a vow that I made in 1968. Reese and I were living in Milwaukee at the time, and we had been drawn in friendship and respect to Professor Hermann Weil. Dr. Weil and his wife had survived Kristallnacht in Germany in November 1938. I promised Hermann that for as long as I would be able to teach, to communicate with others, I'd never allow Kristallnacht to pass unmentioned. Hermann, I have never forgotten you. Neither have I ever forgotten the vow that I took. Secondly, of course, I am going to mention that the Central Conference of American Rabbis this week published the book that I edited along with Rabbi Larry Englander. The book is entitled The Fragile Dialogue, New Voices of Liberal Zionism, available for purchase through the Central Conference of American Rabbis. By the way, I am now available to come to your communities to discuss the newest conversations about liberal Zionism. Just be in touch. Okay, enough crass commercialism. The Sedra is Toldot, Genesis 25:19. We have moved quickly from the stories of Abraham and Isaac and Sarah and Rebekah, and now we are going to enter the tumultuous world of Jacob and Esau. Genesis sets the scene for the emergence of the Jewish people. It puts God at central stage. It describes in unforgettable imagery how diverse civilizations came into being. God now has given up all hope of creating an obedient and loving humankind, and has chosen instead to focus on a singular family, Abraham and Sarah and their descendants, to carry forward the divine message of justice and mercy, of morality and love into the world. But what would happen if any given generation, the latest iteration of Abraham's family, turned their backs on a commitment which, after all, they had no hand in crafting? What if they didn't care about a hoary family mythology? What if all they wanted with their own lives was to marry, to raise kids, to have food for their tables? Rebecca is pregnant with twins. The pregnancy is complicated and painful. At a certain point, she even cries out that she would rather die than carry her pregnancy to term. But the twins are born, and they most certainly are not identical. One was hairy and ruddy. The other was not. The hairy and ruddy one was born first. His brother was born holding on to his elder brother's heel. Esau first, and then Jacob. From that inauspicious beginning, things go downhill. Esau's an outdoorsman, a hunter, rough and ready. Jacob is the one who prefers to stay at home in his family tent, drawing especially close to his mother. Isaac really likes his firstborn, Esau, and is conflicted in his feelings about Jacob. You know what comes next. Esau returns home from a day of hunting and is famished. Jacob is dutifully hunched over the cooking fire, preparing his own vegetarian meal. Esau begs for food, and his loving brother sells him a hot meal in exchange for Esau's birthright as the firstborn. And later, when Isaac is old and blind and near death, Jacob, our patriarch, deceives his father and obtains the firstborn's blessing. It seems that Esau was not at all interested in playing his generational role in transmitting Abraham's covenant to his descendants. All Esau wanted to do was to have the normal life. Hunt, eat, marry, have a family. No problem, right? But rabbinic tradition makes of Esau the archetype of all of the Jewish people's enemies. Jacob will represent the Jewish people, and Esau will represent every one of our enemies: Babylon, Greece, Rome, the medieval crusaders, ultimately even Nazi Germany. Esau will become forever identified with every anti-Jewish Gentile who ever lived. The name of Esau will be eternally reviled. Why? What did he do that was so fabulously wrong? Okay, there was that sibling rivalry thing. But if sibling rivalry brought about thousands of years of punishment, we all would be in pretty rough shape. The rabbis insisted that even in the womb, Esau was lusting for idolatry while Jacob wanted the sustenance of the synagogue. There were no synagogues back then, but don't let that ruin the flow of the story. The rabbis just wanted to show that Esau was totally unfit for the covenant, whereas Jacob was a perfect fit. Given the choice between a yeshiva bocher and a hunter, you know on which side the rabbis would come down. Rashi made it clear that Esau's lack of concern for Abraham's covenant with God was bald-faced proof of Esau's inherent wickedness. What about Jacob's behavior? Is that something to be praised? He tried to pull ahead of his brother in the birth canal. He, in a very nasty deal, sold his brother, beloved twin brother, a hot meal in exchange for a precious family legacy. He connived with his mother in order to cheat his old blind father, and then he ran for his life. What a patriarch. If we take the Torah stories at face value, neither brother emerges as someone especially praiseworthy. Esau, however, is not denigrated in the text. Jacob, however, is not justified in the text. Saints, they were not. Rabbi Bradley Shabbat Artson, a brilliant contemporary scholar, adds another layer to all of this because he views our Sedra as a study in contrasts between the man of action and the man of forethought. Esau acts impulsively, living in the present. Jacob responds with cool calculation, living, as Artson puts it, with 1 foot in the future. In many ways, or so it seems to me, the book of Genesis is constructed like a growing, evolving family tree. The tree grows ever upward and onward, but some branches lead nowhere, dead ends. Some get broken off. Some will never bear a goodly fruit or magnificent foliage, but those other branches lead inevitably forward until there we are, our branch. Whether we are Torah commentators in medieval France or students of Torah in our Facebook community, the sacred task of biblical interpretation was, is, and forever will be the effort to find in our foundational texts that which we need in our own day to make our own lives meaningful, to give us purpose, a place in the cosmos, a sense of pride and of hope. Esau is forever wicked because we need to find a place out of which evil emerged into our world. Like it or not, Esau is it. And Jacob? We read Jacob the way we do because we need a setting upon which we can place our fully evolved commitments to synagogue, to study house, and to home. Jacob is it. The biblical texts, therefore, have become a canvas upon which our teachers and thinkers and philosophers and ethicists create a foundation for the very best of our thoughts, our values, our dreams, and our actions. Rabbi Artson wants us to act with an eye to the future because Rabbi Artson believes that's a very significant perspective to hold. So Jacob's the man. Rashi wants us to value synagogue and family, home. Okay? Jacob's the man. Esau represents all of those who reject covenant obligation mitzvah. In that sense, my friends, Esau's place in Jewish thinking is every bit as significant as that of Jacob. And that is why Torah is a living document, not for its literal truths, its facts, but for the magnificent manner in which it allows us to reach for the very best of what we can dream. Wow. Well, that's it. I hope that you've enjoyed our time together, getting ready for Shabbos. Please remember to hit that share button. Share with others. Stay in touch. Oh, did I forget to mention, this book is out, CCAR Press. Stay in touch. See you next week. Shabbat Shalom.